Check it out. Check it out. Vader Games in the building. Another week, another episode. And you know what I have to do? Let me make sure all my levels are clean. Every time I turn on this computer, I got to make sure things are right. And I think we are good. Levels, microphone, good to go. Okay. Another week, another episode of Vader Games TV. Why Always Me, episode 60. And if you happen to be joining this show live, if you happen to be joining on the replay, all good. All I ask, hit the like button, hit the comments live, comments post-match. I accept it all. I enjoy it all. I interact with it all. So be a part of that first and foremost. And for my peeps, and you know, first things first, my peeps come first. And my peeps that have been on the show before, let me know whether it's private chat, DMs, or even live on the show. Let me know if you want to get a panel invite. We can have that conversation because you can see right here, you can see top to bottom. I got a list of comments I got to run through, and I'm going to do my best to keep this nice and concise. All right. I don't want to go too long with this show. And if anything, I'm going to cut it short and do a part 2. Probably do things like that. But I love you all within the comments right now, within the stream right now, and watching on a replay. I love it all. Now, I got to do it official. You know, I rep Toronto. If you've never been here before, save up that bread. Maybe save up for 2026. Come through for the next World Cup, but save up. Come check out the city. It's amazing. And you know, I got to do a proper intro, show you a little bit of the city, the nightlife, the street scene. Check it out. If you've never been to Toronto, there's a historic street called Yonge Street, longest street in Canada. Actually, I think it might even be the longest street in North America. But Yonge Street, iconic, historic. That's the majority of the views that you saw within that. Now, these topics, man, these topics. And I got to run through it. If you're watching me on YouTube, much love. Hit that like button. Hit me up in the comments. If you happen to be catching me on Twitch, do the same. That's where I'm going to be putting some of my gaming content moving forward. Vader Games, you know the full name. But we're going to make it happen. And you know I got to shout out right from the jump. We're in the holidays. I hope each and every one of you had an amazing holiday. I got to shout out my guy, Danny, in the building. Yo, you're not late. You're here, my guy. Thank you so much. I got Bo Beep. Just getting into it. You have not missed a thing. And Danny, respect my guy. The more the merrier. But I'm happy to have the combo with y'all right now. Now, we're gonna have a moment of silence. We're gonna bow our heads. The GOAT, the beginner, the starter of all things we love in football today, all at a higher level because they had the blueprint, they had the prototype, they had the one that started it all in Pele. Rest in peace. Condolences to the family. He will never be forgotten for what he did for the sport and how he inspired millions. And I mean, he has inspired millions of footballers. Iconic, and the world lost a great. Okay. Absolutely, the world lost a great. Many things that he did on the pitch is why he is considered the GOAT. But on top of that, for the time, the early time with regards to many things, the time in history which he had to perform in, I give him tremendous respect and props for that. Now, these topics, here we go. Let me make sure. Let me know in the comments if my levels need to be adjusted, but we're going to get right into it right now. Okay. When I shared my topics with a few friends, they told me, Yo, Vader, this you seem kind of angry with some of these things. It's holiday season. What's with some of the topics? Where are you going with this? And let me be honest with you. It's not anger. It's never aggressive. I'm not the aggressor. I am a reactor, though. I'll be honest with you. My sign is a Libra. I'm balanced. I am a reactor. Okay, I react to things with appropriate force, and I'm reacting right now. I've been hearing the comments. I've been watching some of my peers and some of my competitors, and I've seen what they've been saying. And I have to point this out. The past few years, City winning 4 in 5. Yes, City winning 4 in 5 had its key challenger be Liverpool. Not taking anything away from it. Key challenger being Liverpool. I guess United finishing second. Got to consider them. Um, but Liverpool being 1 point off twice, pushing City, if you want to say to the final day, 100%. But City clearly, City clearly needed another challenger. It needed another challenger, understanding that whether it was the manager, whether it was the club, whether it was the series of players, that they could not put in the effort required for another push, another fight this season. So what does City do? And let me put this back on screen if you didn't see it within the thumbnail. But what does City do? City creates City creates its challenger. City creates its challenger. I, I don't know if you're familiar. I don't know, again, the age range with regards to who checks out my channel and who I interact with. It's a wide range. So maybe some of you aren't familiar with the Frankenstein story, but there was Dr. Frankenstein, and then there was Frankenstein. It's often misunderstood that Frankenstein, right? Like Frankenstein was just the monster. No, like Dr. Frankenstein made that monster. Okay. And I guess you could argue he's a monster for what he created, but, and I see you. I see you. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, not doubting that for 1 minute. But with, with Liverpool clearly not up for the races this year, right? With Liverpool not ready to put in the effort, not ready to fight, whether it's their mentality being drained, whether it's injuries, whether it's just not knowing what it takes to stay at this, right? To stay at this from a physical and mental standpoint. But City and Pep, they're like an EPL Dr. Frankenstein. They actually created a challenger. They actually created a monster. And this monster this season is Arsenal. I think I think it's kind of wild, and I think if we really think about it, it's needed. What if this season didn't have Arsenal at the top of the league like this, right? What if City did not do what it did in the offseason in the transfer window? And let's be real, it's very tight at the top with Newcastle. Get it? Tottenham's kind of up there. But if there wasn't someone in front of City, what would be the storyline? What would be the narrative? City recognized that it needed a new challenger and created one. Dr. Frankenstein. City. Dr. Frankenstein created its Frankenstein monster, and Arsenal are terrorizing the rest of the league. Not only is Arsenal's team terrorizing the league, but its fan base. Its fan base has rivals sweating. Its fan base have rivals fretting and saying that we can't have Arsenal winning. Can't have it. You know what? In all fairness, City its fan base, it's a humble fan base. It's not braggadocious. It's not out there. It's not clowning other clubs. It's not clowning other fan bases. It's not putting its success in front of others' faces. It's not telling people that they can't sit at tables and have conversations. The City fan base isn't doing that. But best believe if Arsenal continue their winning ways, this is going to be an unbearable season for rival fans. And City created this monster. Let me go to the comments real quick. Danny goes, I think the Gabriel Jesus injury will impact Arsenal a lot and they will go on a losing streak. Danny, that's absolutely possible. It's it's not a bad shout. I mean, I do think that Arsenal have the coverage to continue to be successful if they continue playing the type of football that they are. But Jesus is a big hit because it's not so much that Jesus was contributing with goals, but just how he connected play, how he pressed, his creativity and how he took on players. It made opportunities for many. So his injury is going to be key. But again, I think he's what is he out for 2 months maybe? I think that still leaves a lot of football to be left to play. Will they lose to Brighton? It's a tough match. It's a tough match. Brighton's going to be a tough match, and we're going to have to talk about that with regards to previews moving forward. But I really wanted to point this out and have you guys think about it and talk amongst this with yourselves and amongst rivals. But City recognizing that Liverpool were not going to be up for it, especially when Klopp in the offseason said that they can't compete. Klopp again, another season as the underdog. He came out with that whole narrative. So what does City do? City sends a key important offensive creative player in Jesus and defensive. He presses amazingly well. But send Jesus to Arteta, former assistant coach of Pep, to Arsenal. And Arsenal gave us a very tough match on their grounds last season, 2-1, late goal from Rodri. But not only that, we send Zinchenko over there. And I know Zinchenko's been very inconsistent. He's been hurt often. But sending two winners over at Arsenal. And just that in itself, look at the transformation that's happened. Arsenal could not stay in the top four to close out the season last year. And this year, they have the best start in their history. Arsenal have the best start that they've ever had points-wise in their club's history. City created a Frankenstein. City created a monster. And they're terrorized the league. It's going to be amazing to watch. I hope everyone's going to continue to watch this league. This is why every match is important. This is why this Leeds match that I'm going to get into talking about was so important in terms of keeping up with the 3 points and continuing to see Arsenal ahead of us right now. And I said this. I said the shout out to the Mancunian way, shout out to Pitch Points and True City Fan. And shout out to Adam in the spaces where I've had this conversation. But we City fans, we went from not even being concerned about Arsenal. We went from not even thinking about them, not even where are they in the standings? Who cares? We went from that to really checking our side mirrors to see where Liverpool were. That was our concern. We were like, where's Liverpool? What's happening over there? Sometimes we check our rearview mirror to see what's Liverpool doing. We went from doing that to now we're looking through the windshield ahead of us to see where Arsenal is. What a change that's made, right? And this season, I love it. You got to love it for it. So let me adjust these graphics and everything like that, and we're going to get into the next topic. All right, let me clean this up. How do I do this again? Boom, boom. No, there we go. Now, the next City versus Leeds. Big game. I'm gonna be real with you. Let me tell you a little bit about the ritual pre-match, and let me know in the comments how you guys get prepared for upcoming matches because we're all over the world, right? Some of us are local, some of us are international, so on. But the first thing that I tend to do is, I'll jump in a space. Adam usually has a space. I'll hear what the convo is. Some formations get leaked. We'll have that conversation. But then officially, usually about an hour before the game, that's when the lineup's out. And for me, I look at the lineup. I want to see exactly who's starting. What's Pep doing with the starting 11? I'll check out the bench. I want to see what's happening. Well, I'll be real with you. I saw Pep did not start the strongest 11 versus Leeds. Hey, I'm like, let me try to think like Pep. You know what I mean? Pep, my belief, is Pep needs the confidence. He needs the trust. He needs the experience out of every player. And therefore he needs to have rotation. It's not a matter of playing the best 11 every time. That's that's not what Pep does. That's what Klopp does. That's not what Pep does. Pep's not playing his best 11 every time. He needs to be able to trust players at latter stages within the season, whether it's based off of rotation or based off of fitness or even just based off of matchup, right? This is what I want. This is the player that I think gives me the best matchup versus my opponent. He needs to be able to trust those players. So I'm looking at the lineup and that's my thinking. That's my that's my thinking. I'm not killing him so much. Yo, Broja, my guy, respect. Chelsea fan hitting that sub. We'll have that combo. Appreciate that. Um, yo, Danny is a legend. Danny's a legend, and thanks for being on the show. Thanks for that like and interaction for sure. Ooh, Grealish starting was a surprise. Grealish and Mahrez starting was a surprise. Let me back that. Let me rewind that. So the back four, I'm like same thing. Pep, he's got to figure things out. I'll be honest with you. Ake, fantastic player. Akanji, fantastic player. Stones, fantastic players. I hate seeing them at left back or right back. They're center backs, and I know they can. I know they can do the role. I know they can do the job, but I just want a natural left back, natural right back doing that. And I guess either Pep doesn't have the confidence in them yet, or he needs to see more because Gomez was on that bench. Um, Walker was on that bench, but the difference is at right back, Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis, youngest to score a goal in his Champions League debut. That Rico Lewis, right? So Rico's out there at right back, loving it. Love how he was playing. Stones did his thing. Akanji did his thing. Um, Ake did his thing 100%, not taking anything away. But again, Ake had to play that left back role. And everything was nice and smooth. Look at that midfield. I'm like, Gundo, KDB, Rodri, you know it. If you're new to this channel, you're hearing it for the first time. If you're not new, you've heard me say this often, and it's something that's shared. Gundalorian, Martin, even Patrick, the crew, we all agree when Gundo, KDB, and Rodri in that midfield, it's slow. It is slow. We can deal with that if it's going to be a very low block, a team that's going to play very conservative. But against a place that's good, against a team that's going to go through the transition real quick and attack, like Leeds, had our concerns. The front three, like my man, beat Bebo Beep. I'm gonna just say Beep, like my man Beep said. Seeing Grealish and Mahrez starting, big surprise, because that just means both players are playing inverted. Both players are going to be cutting in on their stronger foot. Jack does that often, but I'm like, let me see. Let me see. I want to see patterns of play. I want to see what the decision is. Pep, how are you choosing to attack or break down this team? And I'm gonna be real with you. The attack, how we coped against Leeds, was spot on. Saw a couple early passes from Ake. I was like, yo, if I see a lot of this game, it's gonna be a long day for Leeds because Haaland missed an early chance. I mean, he kind of scuffed it, didn't get underneath the ball like he wanted, and again, he chose to kick it with his stronger foot instead of putting it on his right. But if we're gonna get chances like that, I'm cool with it. I'm real cool with it. But the chances were there, but they just weren't converted. So I wasn't stressing too much. I mean, I did have that, you got that City feeling like we're gonna squander a lot of these chances. And what it's Leeds gonna do, the first chance, bang, they're gonna score. And then it's gonna be, fighting uphill. But I love how we attacked. And the trust that Pep's trying to get out of these players, I'm okay seeing it. I really am. I'm okay to see it. The bench was super strong, so trust in Pep is okay. It's not working. Second half, 55th minute, around there, Pep's going to make those changes. But what does my man? And it's right there in the title and the descriptions. What does my man do? Rodri. Rodri gets that first goal, and that first goal was all effort. Closing minutes of the first half, man pretty much ran from top of his box right into Leeds' box, 18-yard box, and gets that goal. Sheer effort. Loved how everyone was running through, playing to the very last minute, which is something that City will never forget. City will play to the very last minute for the rest of its existence because of what happened last season. And I'm not going to get into that, but you know why we will always play to the very last minute. Now, that Rodri goal did calm the nerves. It calmed the nerves going into that second half. And that second half was like, let's get the second goal. Leeds, let's be real. Leeds did not look threatening. They didn't look like they were going to be threatening. So just needed that second goal. And when that second goal came, and many more chances were missed. I won't get into that, but Gundo didn't have his shooting boots. He missed an early header from KDB. KDB was a little off as well, shot wise, I'd say. Mahrez missing a chance, but the chances were there. So it was calm. It was nice and calm. And the result, 3-1, I think was very flattering. Could have been worse. It actually could have been 3-0 in that first half had we had our shooting boots on. But I'm real happy with that result. And like I said, the fact that City, Dr. Frankenstein, created this monster in Arsenal, and Arsenal having their best start and they were 8 points ahead, 8 points ahead based off of their win. City needed this. City needed that win, and I was really happy with how the team performed. Beep goes, Leeds could not advance the ball at all. No, they wasted. They would get possession a few times. They would rush that pass through the middle. They'd kind of kick it away, and it just created City that restart. Just restart it all over again. Let's break you guys down. Like let's make you guys chase. And I'm gonna get into a few things though. But this race is great and it's needed. It's absolutely needed. I said it earlier in the show. Because Liverpool fell off the way they did, because their manager clearly said we can't compete with City and went way beyond this underdog talk to not even being able to compete, needed a new challenger. And Arsenal are it. It's gonna keep us all. It's got to keep us all sharp. Iron sharpens iron, and right now the only iron that's up to the task is Arsenal and Arteta. So we're gonna make the best of it, and it's gonna be a magical season. It's gonna be a magical season. All right, let me do this.
Vader, Vader, Vader game.
Okay, we got to deal with it, guys and girls. We got to deal with this. We have to. We have to. And I know it's many group chats, many spaces, many post-match, pre-match shows. Rivals are talking about it, questioning it, and you should. Any big, any big priced, any big priced athlete or signing needs to be scrutinized by the rivals because we're going to do the exact same thing. We are doing the exact same thing, all right? And as rivals, City fans, just make sure you have those names quick, right? So a rival's quick to go after Grealish, just make sure you're quick to go after their said player, right? Liverpool, what are you going to say? If Liverpool says something, you say Nunes, boom. Man United has something to say, you say Anthony, boom. You know what I mean? You got to be quick with it. Chelsea has something to say, you just throw out Lukaku, throw out throw out anybody because nothing's really happening well over there. But what does Grealish do? I'm gonna be honest with you. The price tag, it's a debate killer. The price tag is a debate killer. Beep goes, yeah, 100%. Darweezy, which he should never be named that. He hasn't earned that name. But let me get into this. What does Grealish do? First and foremost, price tag would never equate to the output that we should expect from him. I there's he would have to have a exceptional record breaking assist in or assist in goal ratio contribution with regards to pre-assist pass. He'd have to do it all, right? He would have to do it all as a player for that 100 million price tag. But take that away. Look at what he's producing. Look at what he's doing. And yes, we can have fault with it. I love this stat. I love this stat when because it was made. I was made aware of it. Didn't even know this. But every game that Jack Grealish, Gucci Jack, every game that Gucci Jack has started, City has not lost. Every game. So obviously, important games that we got a result from, Jack was integral into that. However, from a stat standpoint, and we get it when we kind of like have to look at things. What are you doing that's contributing to outscoring the other team? Because that's what it's all about. One would argue it's also not about conceding, but City football here, we outscore our opponents. Jack has not been contributing enough, and as of that first half, for the opportunities that were made available to him, and whether he scuffed it, where he kicked it above the net, where he didn't get a clean hit, where it looked like he just made contact with the ball and wasn't really a true trusted attempt at scoring, that's where he needs to improve. And that's where every City fan is like, nah, man, Jack, you got to fix up. You got to do right. You got to do better. That's what needs to change. His second half, however, if that second half is the consistent Jack that we get, I'm not complaining. If that second half Jack versus Leeds is what we get, if what we get on a regular, who's complaining about it? Who's complaining about it? I mean, the man was picking up the ball in some key spaces. The man was direct. Again, I know many of you hate this. Oh, he's winning fouls. Listen, listen. It's important. And honestly, it's not a matter of him winning fouls passively. This is the thing that you got to miss. It's not him just dribbling the ball and he's getting fouled. He has a knack. He has a talent of creating the foul. If you understand what I'm saying. So what does Jack do? He is a problem. He's not a chaos man like what Darweezy, right? Right, Beep. He's not a chaos creator. Okay, he's not that. Um, but he obviously fits within Pep's system, but his output needs to improve 100%. Clinical in the building. Big up. Thanks for being on the show, my guy. Thanks for the comment as well. But what does Jack do is he retains possession. He forces one, two, and sometimes three defenders to have to be keyed into him. And often how they press him, unfortunately, what we're seeing from him is how he recycles the ball, and it's a little too repetitive. We need to see him get that ball, square up, sometimes take on the two defenders as an opportunity. Because again, if he gets past one, right, and the second one is coming on to him, that's an advantage. That's an advantage. That's a numbers game in terms of advantage within that moment of space. Now he needs to have the trust to get that ball on his left foot and get it out to a teammate. But that's what we need to see more of him. He needs to improve. We got Danny in the building. Grealish needs to improve for sure. Facts. And I'm not just saying that from a stat standpoint. I'm not saying he needs to improve and give us goals and assists. It's not that simple. He needs to improve and be aggressive. We said it when we saw the change within Mars as well. You need to be aggressive. And when I was seeing him take those shots, being blocked, take those shots being missed, but they got to be on target. I'm cool with that. We should all, as City fans, be cool with that. Beat goes first half. He was first half. He was messing up. He was messing up. I'm not going to deny. I'm not going to deny it. He was messing up. But let's not kill Jack either. Because I asked this question, and I'm gonna leave this question with you. We're gonna revisit this on future shows, or let me know in the comments. But I have a feeling, and for all of us as City fans, we think back to when we had natural wingers. I know we romanticize about the days when Sane was out there on that left wing, Sterling was out there on that right wing, Aguero in that middle, and it was just absolute terror that they were forcing onto the defense. We don't have those same profiles anymore. Foden's shifty. He's quick, but doesn't have that pace to really put fear in a defender if he were to get by them, right? Like Sane would or Sterling. We think of a player like Vinicius. We don't have that currently. Um, and even at the time when Jesus was here and would play on the wing, he wouldn't kill anybody with pace. But he's tricky. Mahrez is tricky, no pace. Foden is tricky, no pace. Grealish, no pace, right? We're missing that winger. We need to get back to that. I think Pep has a plan. I think City has that plan on who those players are. I'm gonna be. This is Vader. This is Vader. I'm throwing this out there. I think we see. I think there's the potential to see with the exodus of Gunnigan, exodus of Silva. Be prepared. He may not re-sign with us. Be prepared. But with the exodus of those two players, we may see Foden and Grealish in that midfield. You may think I'm crazy, but I can see Grealish doing similar. He needs to be coached up, but I can see him do the role that Gundo's been asked to do. I can see him do that. I can see him being coached up by Pep to do that very well. That would be the change, and I believe I believe Foden can be moved into that midfield. So now what does that do? Right, two midfield exits. They already know our system. Probably easier to coach with regards to the Pep way, right? They come into the midfield, and what does Pep do? Pep goes out and gets two wingers, and then makes it work. All right. I think that's a possibility. Hear me out. I think that's a possibility. But let's not continue to kill Jack. We love that second half. We're going to demand more of that moving forward, and we're going to get to it. We got to talk about, and let's not kill Jack too much about not having a goal either, because let's be real. He passed up on that goal and gave that assist and had the assist for our man
Vader, Vader, Vader games.
Haaland. Man. You know what? Are my sound effects working? Let me see here. Let me see. Haaland. Let me give Haaland some gunshots. I'm not sure if that got picked up on the microphone, but I had to give Haaland some shots because what more can you ask for from this guy? What more can you ask for from Erling Haaland? Box office, worth the price of admission, big ticket, bright lights, man shows up, man. The man has delivered for everything that he was rumored to be. And the breaking records thing is huge. It's amazing. We should all take pride in that. We should all be happy and be boastful for our players and their accomplishments. But I heard this from a Liverpool fan. Shout out to Luge. But in the spaces, she speaks a lot of sense and she has some very good takes, some very good perspectives. At times, like we all do. We can all have some stinkers, but Lou said this and it really stuck out. She goes, I don't care about records. She goes, I don't care about records. I don't care about all that stuff on what does it mean? What's the impact? What's the benefit? Okay. So she talked about that and I was like, yo, that's it's bang on. I've talked about this on previous shows. You new to the channel, you're hearing this for the first time, but I've got an athletic background. You could be the fastest, right? You could be the fastest on an average invitational meet, like a one-off meet. But what do you do for the championships? What do you do for what do you do for the qualifier? What do you do for the time where it means most? That's when you want that record. That's when you want to be at the best. So the record needs to result into something. It absolutely has. Shout out to Lou. She said, I don't care about records. They need to mean something. Holland is right now 20 goals, 15 games, Never done before. And think about the greats that have been in this league before. Think about all the past greats that have been in this league. Okay? He's setting those type of records. He's breaking those type of records, I should say. This pace is incredible. This pace is insane. Okay? This is Usain Bolt pace. It's wild. Man's flying with these goals. Credit to the team because again, he's not accomplishing these things on his own. He's not carrying the ball from an Ederson kickoff. He's not getting it from a goal kick from Ederson and going through the entire team and scoring. No, it's a team. It's a team thing. But man is scoring his goals, creating opportunities. His space, his intelligence gets underspoken often, but it's why he should be rated as highly as he is. And the record, let me go back to this record. The record's going to supersede. The record is going to surpass. It's going to erase many of those before him and even the current record holder. When Haaland breaks this record, right? Remains healthy, he's breaking this record. When Haaland breaks this record, and when Haaland does what he does to earn a trophy for this club, it automatically surpasses what Mohamed Salah did what Mohamed Salah did when he got his record. It instantly surpasses it because you know what? Shout out to Luge, much respect. And again, a rival fan. Okay? So it's objective. Hear me out. His record meant nothing. Mohamed Salah's record meant nothing. It didn't result in any type of hardware. It was fluff. Empty calories. Haaland continues to do what he does, resulting in a trophy, automatically means more from a record standpoint than his predecessor. That's 100% facts. 100% facts. Let me go to the comments. Clinical goes, to be honest, Haaland has only played 14 league. The record's even better. Clinical, I sit corrected. I said 15, it's 14. 20 games in 14. The record is even better than I thought. Imagine what he does at 15 games, Clinical. Thanks for the correction. Beep goes, mythological player. He's getting there. These are some stories that you're gonna tell. You're gonna tell people that don't follow the game. You're gonna tell youngsters in the future, and they're gonna be like, "Get out of here! It's not possible. How's he scoring every other game? How's he doing that? How's he exceeding goals per game? Like that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna be like, "Nah, it's not. It's not possible. It's crazy, mythical." You're absolutely right, B. Oh, man knows his American football. That's just it. And I have to go back to the point. I have to go back to this point. Winning, scoring goals, setting records, it's important for what the accomplishment is. We've heard it often. Okay, yeah, you can stat pad, right? But what's it going to result in? Haaland, year one Haaland is going to make Salah's year one irrelevant because it's going to result in not only setting records, exceeding what all greats in this league have done, but not only that, do it for a trophy, do it for the hardware. That's what it's about. So let's continue to support our guy. Rivals continue to be amazed. Haaland, it's scary. And like I said, City, Dr. Frankenstein, monster makers, they made Arsenal. Frankenstein walking through the EPL, terrorizing clubs. City's also making Haaland another monster, terrorizing defenses. I didn't even plan that. All right, let's keep this clean.
Vader game.
Now, all of you in the comments, I want to throw this out there because I want to do a bonus show and I want your feedback. Please let me know live. Let me know in the comments, posts. But I want to do just before the new year, if possible. I want to do a review. I want to do an EPL review. Let's look back to the summer transfer window. Let's look at, and I have no problem geeking out. Let's look at all that's been spent from the clubs, the key ones, right? Let's say, what is it, the the challenging seven, right, or the competitive seven. Let's look at the clubs that spent big, should be in contention for the top four, those competing for Europa, so on. But let's look at what was spent in that transfer window. Let's remember the excitement, the anticipation that we had for clubs, the expectation that many of us had for these clubs, where they would be challenging, where they would be in the standings. And for this holiday EPL review, let's then look to where they're at. Let's look to where they're at. Let's look at the underwhelming. Let's give out the underwhelming recognition for those clubs that are clearly under delivering, for those clubs that aren't living up to what they should be doing based off of the money that was spent, the players that came in, the expectations, right? Let's look at that. And also, let's look at these managers that were brought in. These managers that were brought in to be like game changers, right? Changing the whole philosophy, the whole club atmosphere and mentality. Let's look at that, because there's been a lot of underwhelming performances that need to be talked about. We need to give them their proper recognition. I told you I was going to keep this. You know what? In all fairness, let me say this. The rebrand that we kind of had at the start of the season with the summer transfer window, Chelsea spending, Chelsea looking to not looking to go for, well, Chelsea looking to go from being a hoe to a housewife, or being a man slut to a husband, or a house husband. Yeah, house husband. So Chelsea with their rebrand, like long-term vision, no more quick decisions, no more who's hot, let's just get them in. Chelsea making that move. Man United looking to do the same thing. Ten Hag coming in. No more just spending frivolously on player big names, although it looks like they still do that. But United with the whole rebrand, right? We definitely have to talk about not necessarily a rebrand, but the fact that Newcastle and that new ownership and how their approach is, that's a combo. That's a combo. But the rebrand that I'm very interested in having the conversation for, because it's been two tight races versus Liverpool. Us luckily enough to get 4 out of 5, but winning 1 point ahead of them. But their whole rebrand and how they've had to do their money ball, and they've had to be smart with how they're scouting and getting their talent and contracts that they're designing, and players, and how they extend contracts. Most Salah, you know, record signing or re-signing, the whole rebrand. Liverpool were supposed to. I was rooting for them. I wanted them to get the big pocket owners. I wanted them to splash that cash, because again, you do that, the underdog talks are dead. You get the big money, you start spending heavily, the underdog talk is dead. You can't use that as a fallback default. That's why I wanted it. But this rebrand, this Liverpool club rebrand, they're spending crazy money. They're spending big money. I think he's closing in on 1 billion. I think Klopp is closing in on 1 billion with these latest acquisitions that are happening. The more recently with Gakpo, but the man spending his money. We got to talk about that. It continues. The whole rebrand needs to be addressed. And again, I want them to have it. I don't. I didn't want Liverpool to fall off like this. I didn't want this to be a two-team race. I didn't. Wanted it to continue on. I was the one saying that Liverpool and Manchester City is a rivalry. I was the one going talking about it. What do I look like talking about that now? With them in seventh or sixth? I look like an idiot if I say there was a Klopp and Pep era, or maybe there was an era. It just was really short. It wasn't really an era, but we'll see. We'll see. I want I got to make moves, but I want to thank each and every one of you within the comments. I'm going to do this again. Like I mentioned, I got to do that review. I got to do the EPL review. I will be addressing some of these topics again at a later date, hopefully with a few of my peeps. We'll do a panel show. And for those of you in the comments, if you ever in the future want to be a part of the show, please let me know in the comments. We'll exchange details up in the DMs, and we'll make this work. We'll have the combo. Let me get clinical real quick. Vader, do you think Newcastle is in the title race? Clinical, I can't say that they're in a title race, my friend, but they are causing problems with regards to teams that claim to have top four locked up. Newcastle is playing spoiler. I know many thought it was going to be a short run, a quick burst, and they were going to cause some damage. Nah, they're here to stay. And manager deserves all the props for that. He's been good. He's turned that club around. Clinical also goes on to say, I'd love to come on and have a chat with you. So, hey, Clinical, 100%, man. 100%. You've always been respectful in the comments. Looks like I can trust you with regards to having this combo in person. You just let me know. Let me know if you got a face for TV, if you're okay being on camera, or if you got Aguero kissing that football right there. If you're going to be off camera, but we got the voice, you get to share it with the peeps. That'd be fantastic. But I want to thank each and every one of you again. RIP, much respect to the GOAT, Pele. And on top of that, for all of you during this holiday season, hope you had a chance to spend it with family. That is the gift. The gift is time with family, time with loved ones. So hopefully you're able to give that as well as receive that. And I'm doing my best to have a bonus show. I'm going to do my best to have a bonus show. Shout outs to Danny. Shout outs to Beep, Clinical. I want to also, I got to mention my peeps, True City Fan, Gundalorian at Pitch Points, Martin at Mancunian Way, Adam within the spaces. Find them. Their descriptions will be in the description. Sorry, their details will be in the description of this video. Make sure you go and support them as well. I'm Vader Games TV. Another episode this week. There's going to be a bonus one. Trust me, there will be a bonus one. This is episode 60. And we got to talk about, or I had to address the fact that City needed a new challenger. Liverpool weren't up for it. United weren't up for it. Chelsea weren't up for it. Spurs weren't up for it. What does City do? Create its own challenger. Arsenal. It's going to be a fantastic season. Catch me on the bonus show. And thank you all. Vader Games. I'm out. Much love. My peeps. First things first. You always come first. I'll catch you guys.